Good morning, Rabbi. Sponsored by the Shermans of KGH, Lili Nishmas, our grandfather and great-grandfather, on the occasion of his yahrzeit, Chof Aleph Odor, Harav Yisrael Chaim ben Shmarihu, Rabbi Irving Dropkin. No, so why aren't you sponsor? Rabbi say a bit of good news.
I'm becoming a drug.
That's good news. Mutty and Rivke Grunberg, OU user, have a pretty good message for us for a complete refuah shelayma for our granddaughter Mלכה bas Sheva bas Tamiма. After having a large tumor near her heart removed yesterday, it was a very successful surgery, I heard, Baruch Hashem, at Tel Hashomer Hospital under the wonderful shaliach Dr Ron Kramer. Yishkoyach Ron, Dr. Ron, and his team. Thanks to the MDY family for the continued tefilos and learning. Rabbi say a little bit of akaras atayv here. Where's that email of akaras atayv? Here we go. This is from Rabbi Avram Tikotsky. Today, my wife and I went shopping for tiles for a renovation in our Lakewood home. We're in a tile store in Brooklyn on Nostrand Avenue. As we were finishing up, the husband, his name is Jack Max, of the woman whose store it is, came in and we started schmoozing. When I said my name was Avram Tikotsky, he said, Eli is looking for you. I said, what? Well, he also listened to your shir and told me that you're looking for me. So here I am, crazy. I go shopping for tiles and bump into the Eli Stefansky fan. He also said that he recommended your shir to many others. Other people started with you and love it. Anyway, just letting you know that I still watch on all Daf. And in Hashem, very soon, we hope to be able to come to the Holy Land and then meet in person, continue gesund, koyach, to inspire Yidden all over the world. Avram Tikotsky. Now, I think it was exactly a year ago. Literally, to the day. To the day. From this email, I received it this morning. Exactly a year ago, we'll ask the statistician. That's when we got thrown out of base medrash. We're doing great here. Everything is geschmack. We're singing songs. Yeah, it was a screeching halt, and we went home. Depressing times, to say the least, right? Everybody remembers that. Depressing. They locked us up, and there's a serious lockup, and Pesach, everybody's by themselves. And in the mail, I received this thing. Massive box. This gave me chizuk that day. Gave the oilam chizuk. This was a gift from Avram Tikotsky, this guy that just sent the email a year ago. And he writes on the bottom, presented to the Rebbe and Eli Stefansky on the occasion of Siyum Sechtes Brochas, Tavshin Pei, mamash a year ago. Thank you for sharing your husband with the world, Mr. and Mrs. Avram Tikotsky. So, I mean, it gave me a lot of chizuk then. It gives me chizuk now. It sits by the door of my home, at the entrance of my home. I'll leave it up here, but I thought it was a wonderful thing. Mamash, a year to the day. It's a year to the day? 2 days after. Yeah, we got it. I didn't get it that day. I got it like a day or two later. Might have been mamash, off by a day or so. Unbelievable. I brought this. Shkoyach. Thank you. Here's another one. Shalom Brocha, Rabbi. I really want to thank you for a long while, for all the great shiurim. I'm an English teacher here in Williamsburg. Yes, MDY has fans in Williamsburg as well. I do tutoring for Limudei Kodesh, and after watching, I heard what you said. I hope he didn't hear. He said he didn't know that Williamsburg has English teachers. And after watching your shiurim, I really learned how to be a better teacher and a better melamed. Your way of explanation and the visualization really taught me a lot. As well, I spotted an MDY bumper sticker on a car on Bedford Avenue right next to the house of the previous Satmar Rebbe. So since I know you love pictures, I took one. You don't really see the Satmar Rebbe's house. What you do see is I counted 35 pieces of trash on the floor. And here is the sticker. Do you know what this is right over here? This thing right here. It's a gutter. It's a gutter. Stop. If you want to know what this is a gutter. All right, fine. Rabbi say, I received another email yesterday. It says like this: Good morning, Rebbe. Unfortunately, I fell off the bandwagon last night for 3 minutes into the shir. But this morning I went straight to my office because before Shachar to watch the shir. I must tell you. You know, everyone behind the scenes is working very hard, but there's one person that needs to be pointed out. Yosef Bilyak did a phenomenal job on the YouTube with the chart today. And his highlights, you're rolling up and down. Look at this, Rabbi Isai. I printed it out. This is not what you saw in shir. It's a copy, but it's a digital copy. And what he did was very amazing. Nobody asked him to do this. He made a cardboard box, a digital cardboard box, the one that Hill was going down with. And every time I said, it jumped out. Now, if you know anything about video editing, it's a lot of work. 8 times the box has to move. And how he got this box exactly, it's his thing. So, if you look down here, it says Amud Aleph, it switches to Amud Beis, it tells you where, if you don't like the emails in the beginning, Yaakov, you could just go to YouTube and give your seat up to somebody else, and you just skip straight to Amud Aleph, or then to Amud Beis, whatever. It tells you where Tehillim is. If you like only Tehillim, you go straight to Tehillim. It's geschmacka stuff. Whatever, exactly. If you want to do one Amud every day, do Amud Beis. It's how you just go to Amud Beis. It tells you where to start. I'm quite familiar with video editing, and I know how much work goes into it. Thank you very much, Hashem, for the great team that you put together in MDY. This daf was a pleasure to watch. Kudos to Yosef. P.S. I'm saying this directly because I'm sure with Yosef's humility, he wouldn't forward this email to you, which is true, he didn't. I got this from him. Yishkoyach. Thank you, Yosef. We're very appreciative. What? Oh, don't pretend you don't know. Yisrael Goldstein from Borough Park. He is a photographer and a video guy. Rabbi said we're holding smack in the middle of a sugya. The sugya of Avdallah. And yesterday we learned, Rabbi said that he did 4 Havdalas. 4 separations, he said. Ben Kodesh L'chol, that's 1. Ben Or L'choshech, 2. Ben Yisrael La'amim, 3. Ben Yomi Pesachim L'sheish Yimei Amas is 4. But we learned that you can only do 3 or 7. What's this 4th one? So the Gemara says the Yomi Pesachim L'sheish Yimei Amas is really included over here. Amad Ben Kodesh L'chol. The 6th day and the 7th day is Kodesh L'chol. So in fact he had 3. Zog the Gemara, Kuf Daled Amud Aleph, 3 lines down. Bam Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel. Says Shmuel, Hamavdil tzorch sheyoymar me'ein chasima somuch lechasimosai. When you say a bracha, so over here it would be Baruch Atah Hashem Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. So you have to mention whatever you're saying over here, Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol, right before it. Ben Yom HaShvi l'sheish yimei Masa Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. So this final bracha represents what we just said. Upum b'disoy yamri me'ein psichasan somuch lechasimosai. So we have a little bit of a problem. The Pumpadisa people, they say what you say in the beginning. Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol, Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. So what difference is there between Pumpadisa and Shmuel? They're saying there's no difference. According to everybody, saying Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol, you finish it off. Whether it's from the beginning or from the end, it's all the same thing. My benayu. There is no difference. At the end of the day, where's the difference? Says the Gemara, Ike benayu yontav shechal liyos achar shabbos. There's one difference. One time that we say a different type of havdalah. When yontav falls out after Shabbos, which is this year. The chasminon ben kodesh lekodesh. Man damar. So here's havdalah that we're going to say this year. There's 2 parts. Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. Starts off like a regular weekday Avdallah. And then it says, B'yom hashvi l'sheish yimei amasa. So it talks about kodesh l'chol. And then it talks about the end. Hamavdil ben kodesh l'kodesh. Because we're actually we're separating between Yontif and Shabbos. So it's a kodesh and kodesh. And it says in the middle of Avdallah, Ben kedusha Shabbos l'kedushas Yontif ivdalta. You separate between Shabbos and Yontif. So you have the blue and the blue, you have the green and the green. The green is between Kodesh and Chol, weekday and a Kedusha, and it talks about it inside over here. And then it talks about Kedusha Shabbos and Kedusha Shabbos and Yantiv. Says the Gemara, Man domar me'ein psichasim somach l'chasim asan, le'bai le'meimar bein Kedusha Shabbos l'Kedusha Yantiv vivdalta. You don't have to say all this. This blue thing is not necessary, according to Pumbedisa. We already say over here, Hamad Mikodesh L'chol. Start off, so it has to be Me'ein HaPsicha. And it says, Ben Yom HaShvil Shesim Me'amasa. You should say, Baruch Atah Hashem, Hamad Mikodesh L'kodesh. This whole thing, Ben Kedusha Shabbos and Kedusha Yantiv, is not necessary. This goes according to Shmuel. You need this whole line over here, because you have to talk about your Chasima. But if you have to talk about your Psicha is Hamad Mikodesh L'chol. So I say, Ben Yom HaShvil Shesim Me'amasa. I already said it in there. Yeah? What? I don't need the conclusion. The conclusion is not important to the Pumbedisa. Pumbedisa is just the beginning, the opening. The opening statement has to be represented somewhere in the middle of the text. So here, Amadim Mikodesh L'chol, it's represented. Ben Yoim Hashvil Shezim Me'amasa. And then you can finish off however you want. Amadim Mikodesh L'chol, you're finishing it off because that's what it is. You're being Madim between Yantiv and Shabbos. But it's not necessary to repeat this over here. Ben Kedusha Shabbos and Kedusha Yantiv, you already repeated it over here. According to Shmuel, you have to repeat it because you have to talk about, inside the Brocha, you have to talk about what the Chasima is, not the Psicha. Man do amar mein Chasima, son samach Chasima, son boy lemeim, ben Kedusha Shabbos, Kedusha Yantiv, vivdalta. According to Shmuel, you have to repeat it. So, there's a very important Taisus here. I think we should see Taisus. We'll do something we haven't done in a while. Maybe even read the entire Taisus. It's a fascinating ending. What? That we've done. Not this. This is more than 10 centimeters. And in school we didn't learn anything more than 10 centimeters. Today we're going to do it. Third Taisus. We'll just fly through it. Shal Rabbeinu Ephraim is Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Ephraim has Rabbeinu Tam. These are things that we say, and we always wonder what's going on here in this Havdalah. Now we'll know in just 2 weeks. We'll know why we say it. What's going on here? Because of the love that we have for Yantiv, we want to say 7 Havdalahs. Bein Kodesh L'chol Echad, Bein Or L'choshech Shtayim, Bein Yisrael L'am Shalosh, Bein Yom HaShvil Shezim Ma'aseh Arba, Bein Kedusha Shabbos Kedusha Yantiv V'dalta, Pirush. Now he talks. Shebe Yoim Tov Shari Midi Doichel Nefesh. You let it cook. Bes Yom HaShvil Shezim Ma'aseh Kedashta Haydu Chol Shemoyed. The Shari Dava Avad. Or B'Shabbos Aser. The difference between Yantiv and Shabbos. Zeh Chiluk Shabbos and Yantiv. V'Havdalachas. Harei Chamesh. Hivdalta, here he says a very interesting thing. Hivdalta v'kidash is amchi yisro v'kedushasecha. You'd never have any idea what this pshat. What does it mean? According to Tosfos, Hivdalta v'kidash tes amchi yisro. You separated Klal Yisro. Where do you separate Klal Yisro? Who? The Ashkenazim and the Sfardim. So Tosfos says, where did we separate? Ben Kohanim Levim Yisraelim. And that's actually Gemara coming up. But that's a new pshat, a new way to understand Havdalah. But it's beautiful, says Tosfos. That's 7. The Kohanim and the Levim and the Yisraelim. V'havim me'en chasima de ben kodesh lekodesh. Amazing. A whole new understanding in Hamavdil ben kodesh lekodesh between Klal Yisrael, between Kohanim and Levim, between Levim and Yisraelim. We're all kodesh. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu separated us. The Yisraelim over here, the Kohanim over there. It's kedai to see Tosfos, no? Zok the Gemara weiter. Gufa. Because we're talking about separations. All separation, we're going to see soon. Separation between the heaven and earth. Separation between Tami and Tar. We talk about separations. Ben Yisrael Amim. What does that have to do with Havdalah? Between Goyim and Yidden. When you say Havdalah, you should not do less than 3 Havdalahs. You should talk about 3 separations HaKadosh Baruch Hu made, and not more than 7. For this, we need to see another Tosfos. Top Tosfos. Small Tosfos, but very important. It says Tosfos, says Tosfos, it's not between 3 and 7. It's exactly 3 or 7. You can't do 4, 5, 6. Why? says Taisis Kedama about Chelas, we learned in Menachas, La'yivches Mizayin Keneged Shiva Rakim. On your tzitzis, when you have tzitzis over here, you do 7, 11. There's certain numbers. You can't do 8 if you want, because it doesn't represent anything. 7 represents the skies, the heavens, Rikim. The 7 and the 6 ears. So if you want to do 12, it's a no-no. So over here also, if you want to do 3 avdalahs, great. 7, great. Says Taisus, I don't know exactly why, but don't do 4 or 5. 4 and 5 is worse than 3. Don't think you're a tzaddik, you're adding 1, 2. And that's why the Gemara asked before in Rava, why did you say 4? It's supposed to be exactly 3. And the Gemara says, oh, the 4th one that he added was part of the Brocha, the chasima. Okay, so people ask different kashas. The Ramah says you have to be very careful. I saw something very interesting this morning, that it says you should only do 2 candles for Shabbos. And the rest of the candles that women do should be on a different size, a different leichter, a different thing. Never seen that. But we have 2 candles, Zochar v'Shamar. You want to add? It's not supposed to be done. But add it on the side, sort of. What about Aliyas? It says you shouldn't less, but more, okay, it's okay. So they talk about it. But all these things have an exact number, you should stick to that number. Meisvei. Oimer Avdalis b'matzoi Shabbosos. All Matzoi Shabbos and Shabbosos, you say Avdalah. What do you do? When? All of them, besides one. B'matzoi Yomim Tovim an Yantiv. U'b'matzoi Yom Kippurim an Yom Kippur. You do say Avdalah. U'b'matzoi Shabbos the Yantiv. And from Shabbos going into Yantiv, because you're going from a larger Kedusha to a lower Kedusha. Again, you're going from Yantiv to Chalamayit. The Kedusha Chamura to Kala. We just said in Taisus. What's the difference between Chalamayit and Yantiv? Davar Avad. Okay. Yeah, that was on that. So what was the difference? Let's see again. Let's go back. The Shari Dava Avad. On Chalamayit is Shari Dava Avad. Shabbos also. Okay. Fine. Avaloi b'matzah Yantiv l'Shabbos. Going from Yantiv to Shabbos, not this year. Yantiv to Shabbos, now you're going to a higher Kedusha. Then you don't say Avdallah. Why not? Says the Rashbam, it's like the Moshe we said yesterday. When the king comes in, you don't have time to say goodbye to the Duke. He's here. You have to Shalom Aleichem, you have to take him around, you have to do this. So the Duke just leaves. He leaves on his own. Yantiv just leaves. So when you have a larger Kedusha coming in, you don't say Avdallah. It's when the larger Kedusha leaves, that's why you say Avdallah. Haragol Oimer Harbe, if somebody knows how to say Avdallahs, he knows how to do separations, he says a lot. Shenaragol Oimer Achas. So over here it says you only say 1. Why? Where did the 3 come from? Asked the Gemara. Why 3? Says the Gemara Tanoi. There's a person. He was the son of a Kaddish. Huh? Yeah, Ben Shak. I don't even know. I'm a Ritz. By Hasidim it's called Ben Shak. Benon Shak Doishim. He paskined 1. The Tanoim in his generation said 3. So Machlagis Tanoim. Maniu Benon Shal Gdoishim. Who is this Kadosh? Rabbi Menachem Bar Simai from Avodah Zarah. B'mai Korlei Benon Shal Gdoishim. Why did he have this special name? The Lo Yistakel B'Tzursa de Zuzah. Because he didn't look at the depiction on the coin. What's the big deal? The best I found really, I think, is the Chassam Sofer. Chassam Sofer says that Avraham Avinu instituted coins, and Memela the coins had Kedusha. But then this king came along, and he put his own depiction on the coin, so he put tum into the coin, certain tum in a coin. Stamile, not to look at pictures. You see Gdoilim, don't take pictures. The Tzura, the Zara maybe. I got a lot of chizuk from the following thing. Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein, maybe 30 years ago, spoke to a Bacher in Yeshiva Ktana, and he told them that we're talking about looking at something. Not looking creates Kedusha. That's why he's called a Kaddish. He told these Bachrim, he said, when you walk in the street and there's something there you shouldn't be looking at, and you look away, you should dam HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give you whatever you want. It's a time to daven when you misgaber on yourself. I thought it's a tremendous thing. So his brother-in-law, Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky, has made it famous that if somebody embarrasses you in public, you should turn around. If you see me, like a lot of times I go like this. I'll say like, it's when you guys embarrass me, Barabim. But that's what it says. Really? Shouldn't be infatuated with wealth. That makes you a kaddish. Okay. But you see this yahrzeit that it's not only somebody embarrasses you. Anytime you control your yetzer, you have a desire and you control it, you can talk to Rabbi Shalom. You say, Rabbi Shalom, I just did this for you. Hit me back. Give me something. Whatever.
What if you really made a mistake, though? Can't we just tell you that you're wrong?
If it's embarrassing, it's embarrassing. You could. Rabbi, you should, but it's embarrassing. I'll just go. I should have a refuah shelayma, my moyach. All right. There's sometimes, Rabbi says, sometimes, even in these days, today it's different than Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein spoke 30 years ago. Today, the street is in your house, in your bathroom. So over there, it's not kedai to talk to Rabbi Shalom. So if you're on your phone and you're misgaber on yourself, just wait until you come out. I'm just saying, whatever. Not looking, not being misgaber on yourself, it creates kedusha. Zog the Gemara, Shalach le Rav Shmuel bar Idi. My brother says one Avdallah, but the halacha is not like him. You say 3 Avdallahs. Omer Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Hamavdil tzorech sheyomer mein Avdallahs hamuris b'Torah. Any Avdallah that you mention in Avdallah, we'll see some that we're not very familiar with, but they have to be mentioned in the Torah. It should say the word Avdallah by them. Meisvei. Is that true? Say the Avdallah, say, hey, how does it work? Oimer. Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol, we're very familiar with. Bein or l'choshech, familiar with. Also in the Torah it says the word Avdallah. Bein Yisrael la'amim, yes. Bein yoyim hashvi l'sheish mea masa, this is not in the Torah. It's not brought down in the Torah, a lashon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mavdil between the shvi and the shishi. It's not brought down. So what is it? So Rishbam explains that it's not part of the count, but it's me'ain the chasima. So if this is the chasima, hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol, so we say ben yoyim hashvi l'sheish me'amasa, because we have to say some words that have to do with the chasima. But it's not part of the havdalah. It's not a havdalah because in the Torah it's not muvdal. Again, ben or l'choshech in the Torah it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mavdil ben or l'choshech. What? Oh, ben kodesh l'chol, ben Yisrael la'amim. But the Torah doesn't say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mavdil between shvi and shishi. But that's only because you're right. It's not part of the havdalah. This whole line is not a havdalah. It's part of the nusach havdalah, but it's not a mavdal. It's not a separation. It's just here because in the final bracha it says Baruch atah Hashem mavdal min kodesh l'chol, and we have to talk about the final bracha, so we stuck that in.
That brings us back to the top. We have only 3 Avdallahs.
What?
That brings us back to the beginning that we have only 3 Avdallahs.
Right. According to this, 1 ben kodesh l'chol, ben or l'choshech, ben Yisrael la'amim. 3 ben yom shvil sheish masa is not a 4th. It's part of this. That explains, I guess, the Gemara's teretz before even better. It's not a havdalah, it's just part of the bracha. What's the kasha? What? Yeah.
Not 3. My answer, no, it's really.
Yeah, because then it was a separation. Is it a separation? Shabbos is separated from Friday. That's 100%. We just learned the yahrzeit that separation is not a physical. It has to be in the Torah that it's separated. That's to say the word havdalah in the Torah. Badil, havdalah. Says Gemara ben Tamilitar. That's in the Torah. It says the word havdalah over there. Ben ayam lecharava. This is not in the Torah. This doesn't say anywhere in the Torah the word havdalah between the yam and the dry land. The Torah does say it. Yes. And now what? V'chaisim b'soider bereishis. Soider, the Gayr with a vav. That what? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu was misader after he created the world on Motzei Shabbos. It has a certain, everything works in a certain way, everything's misudar. So you say, Baruch atah Hashem, Soider Bereshis. That's one nusach. V'achayim oimrim b'yoytzer Bereshis. You say yoytzer Bereshis. Shmooze created Bereshis. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Omer, and this is a name that we're going to use later. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, the Tana says, Chaysem mekadesh Yisrael. Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave kedusha to Klal Yisrael. I think there's an amazing Rashbam here that we should all see. 5 lines from the bottom. Mekadesh Yisrael, mikol olamai. Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave kedusha to Klal Yisrael from the entire world. Sheyotzar, that he created. Lekidesh Eli Yisrael. You hear this? Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave kedusha only to Klal Yisrael. So it makes a lot of sense that by Havdalah, when Shabbos comes out, we say Mekadesh Yisrael. We shouldn't just say, oh, Mekadesh Yisrael. It's special. The elephants don't have kedusha. The Umas Ha'amim don't have kedusha. Klal Yisrael has kedusha. Says the Gemara, V'misa Hobein Hayam Lecharava Leksiva BeHavdalah. Doesn't say in the Torah the word Havdalah between Yam Lecharava. Says the Gemara, Sami Mekan Bin Yam Lecharava. Scratch it. We just spoke about how Yom HaShvil is not a Havdalah because if Yom Lecharava you have to scratch, so scratch this. But we said it's part of the Brocha. Okay, so it's part of the Brocha. But now you're missing one. You don't have 7 anymore. Amri, Kohanim, Levim, Yisraelim, Trei Milininu. It's not one Havdalah between Kohanim, Levim, Yisraelim. Use that as 2. Between the Kohanim and the Levim, that's 1. Between the Levim and the Yisraelim is 2. And therefore, we have a total of 7. Levim, Yisraelim, Dechsiv, Beis, Ha'i, Hivdil. Allah Shana Havdalah. You see, here's in the Torah. Here's an example of the word Havdalah in the Torah. Hivdil Hashem, Shevet HaLevi. And again, ben Kohanim leLevim dechsiv b'nei Amram Aaron and Moshe vayibadel Allah Shana Havdalah Aaron lagdish kodesh kedosh. Michtam b'chatim. So how do we finish off Havdalah? This is how we do it today. Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. Rav Omar mekadesh Yisrael. Rav says mekadesh Yisrael. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, that's the Rashbam. And that was Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, Atana. Says the Gemara, who? Says the Gemara, Shmuel Amar Hamavda B'Kodesh L'Chol. Shmuel, who's an Amora, says this nusach. So why in the world do we say this nusach? Says the Rashbam, because he's following the Chachamim, the Tanoim beforehand in Masechtas Chulin. Okay. Says the Gemara, Layit Allah Abaya. Abaya would curse B'Tamar of Yosef Ahad Rav. If you said it like Rav, Mekadesh Yisrael, he would curse you. The shaila is, how does Abaya, who's an Amora, have a right to curse? First of all, Rav could be like a Tana Upalig, but it's Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, who's a Tana for sure. How could Abaya curse what a Tana said? So, I was told that the Re'em Harvit says that, very interesting, in the time of the Tana of Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, there's no Natsrus, I'm going to say it like that. Natsrim didn't exist. So there's no concern. So it was a great thing, Mekadesh Yisrael. But in the time of the Abaya, he said, when you say Mekadesh Yisrael and it goes into Sunday, their Sunday, so you're actually giving their Sunday a maimed. What is the word? Credence. And that's why Layit. But it was on Rav. Rav, you know about Yeshu. You know about Natsrus. You shouldn't say Mekadesh Yisrael. You should say Ben Kodesh L'Chol. Sunday is a weekday. It has no Kedusha. Azab Pshat. I thought it was a cube shot. We then Rabbi Yosef Ahad Rav. Tana B'Shmei Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananyo. Kol HaChoysim Mekadesh Yisrael v'Amavdim Mekadesh L'Chol. What if you combine the two? And this could actually be a teretz to the Re'em Harvitz. He's brought down in the Gemara, number 97 out of 113 new pirushim in the back of the Gemara, the Re'em Harvitz. Anyways, and then you're going to say, don't worry, it's chol, don't worry. But I'm also going to talk about Kedushas Yisrael. It's Gevaldik Gezach, you get Arichas Yomim. Now returning to Daf Kufdal Amud Beis, sponsored by, I should really say, you don't say two, you don't finish off 2 brachas. That's not the way to do it. No, you don't do it. You don't do it. It's not because it's not proper to say two brachas. Now, if you're not supposed to do it, I don't know what kind of ganedi you get for something you're not supposed to do.
It's not more than one thing.
Why?
They shouldn't have more than one thing.
Right, more than one. You don't discuss two things in one bracha. Sponsored by Eli Dykman from Borough Park. Brocha vehatzlacha for all the MDY team, and he called me up at 1 a.m. He said, and please add Nachman Seltzer, MDY team to the everyday lives for all the hard avodas HaKodesh they do. Sponsored for refuah shelayma for all the Chayil Israel, especially from our MDY family. If you go on Zoom, you'll see all the time. It says OU user, that's Mutty Grunberg, and the granddaughter. Where is she? Special refuah shelayma from Mלכה Bas Sheva Bas Tamiма Leah. Avada, but she needs refuah shelayma. She's still in the hospital. Refuah shelayma, halavayit, she go halavayit should be benign. Halavayit should never come back. Everything. I think she just turned 9 years old. We had a correction. She's not 8. If she's 9, it's mamish by the day. In these days, right around now. Please consider joining the MDY Tehillim group, tehillim.8mindaf.com. Zok the Gemara, Ula ikla lepum bedisa. Ula shows up in a place. The oilam was tumbling. Ula's here. Ula's here. Omalei Rav Yehuda, Rav Yitzchok. So Rav Yehuda tells Rav Yitzchok Berei, his son, Zil amte kalkola de peire v'chazi heicha avdil. Go in there with a basket, a nice fruit basket. Now they won't be able to kick you out, and he won't be able to eat it because it's before Havdalah. So you'll stick around. Here is the fruit. I want you to watch, how does Ula do Havdalah? We need to know. We don't have a siddur. We don't want to know how the Ula the Gadol says Havdalah. Where are we? Let's go back. Zil amtile kalkolo de peir v'chazi heichi avdil. He didn't feel like going. He was busy. He was learning Torah. Shodaleila Abaya. So you know what? Abaya is a pretty good guy. Abaya, you go. They'll tell me them. You go. My father said I should go. I can't go. You go. Abaya. So Abaya comes back. So he asked him, "No, what do you see? What did Ula do?" The entire Havdalah, this whole Ben Kodesh Yisrael, nothing. He got up, Ula, he said, Baruch Hamavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol, Baruch Atah Hashem, Hamavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol, similar to like when you want to get into your car after Shul, Baruch Hamavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol. That was the whole Havdalah. He probably said with Shem Hashem. I'm sure he said with Shem Hashem. V'sulai. No chasima, but Baruch Atah Hashem, Hamavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol, Adkan. No big story. Also the Kamei Davua. So, Rav Yehuda comes to Rav Yitzchok and says, I have good news. Amalei Heicha Amar Nu. Rav Yehuda says, news, what did you hear? Amalei Anoli Azli. I didn't go. Ano Shadirti, but I sent somebody really good, Abaya. V'Amarli Hamavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol. Amarlei, an amazing Gemara, Rabbi Isai. Amarlei Rav Venusei Demar, your gaiva. It's a father giving it to his son, Kamosh Tzarech. He was really mad, says the Rashbam. Klas. He was anger. V'Sarusei Demar, you didn't listen to me. Gormalei Lemar Deloitema Shmaitzim Ipumei. Unbelievable. For generations, forever, you're not going to be in Shas that you are the one saying over the member from Ula. It could have said, Omar Rav Yehuda, Ula said, Baruch Hamavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol. No, now it's Abaya. Abaya said it. You don't get to say it. And the Rashbam brings the famous Gemara that when you say something in the name of somebody else, or when you say something, when you say over Torah, your lips literally move in the caver, and that he lost forever. His lips are not going to move in the caver when we read this Gemara. The Magen Avram says that if you hear something from somebody, shtikol Torah, and you don't say it over in his name, you're over in a lav. And then the Yehuda says, how do I know it? He says, because there's a pasuk, al tigzal dal, kidalu. You're stealing. You heard something from him, you have to say it over in that person's name. And if you do, so maybe Gulul Olam, like we see in the Megillah, Vatomer Esther, Lamelech b'shem Mordechai. And that was the beginning of the Gula because she said in the name of Mordechai. So Mordechai put down Achashverosh. Put down Mordechai, and then he owed him a favor, the whole thing. Because she said it, b'shem Oimroi, maybe Gula lo'ilam.
Who brings that in Masechet Megillah?
No.
Where that's the din. It's maybe Gula Olam.
Rav Elazar and Chanina? Levi's doing a lot of chazaras. Gewaltige stuff. Rabbi said, maybe next Masechta. We should really start today. The Shitasi, we should start today. We should do Zichro. A little cute video to remember it as a whole. All right. Zol Gemara. Meisve.
Sarusi, you didn't explain what Sarusi was. It's domination. We forced him. You should have gone yourself and forced him to do it.
I don't know if that's that he forced Abaya? Really? That's what the article says? Yeah. He was sorry. I thought that it meant that he didn't want. He was hard. Really? That's Sarusi. Interesting. The article says Sarusi means that he dominated Abaya. He kind of forced him into it. Interesting. I don't think that the pshat. I learned that means. What do you say? What do you say? Right. Read the article. What does he say?
I told you, it says here, holiness caused him not to go learn from the distinguished scholar, and domination caused him to send the body instead. Thus causing, in other words, to carry out something he should have done himself.
Rabbi say Andrew Glatz is on Zoom. I was just thinking about Andrew Glatz. Welcome back, Andrew. How you doing? Hamakim Menachem Eschem Besoich Shar Velatzim Yerushalayim Velois Asivu Ladava Oid. Incredible Yishkoyach. I was thinking about Henach. Henach. He lost his brother, I don't remember, about a month and a half ago, whenever it was, and he told me just now, he said, I listened to what you said, I skipped ahead, and he finally made it up. He made it up. That's the ikr. I mean, the ikr is to skip ahead, and if you can make it up, you make it up. So Andrew, he set the par for you. That's the bar. You jumped ahead, givaldik, and now you just make up a little. If you have a hole still, you make it up. It's not the end of the world. Somebody sent me a clip yesterday. Who sent it to me? Avichai Gez. What's his name? Amichai Gez. Sent me a clip from the Magid, the official Magid Shir of Dirshu, who says the Shir in Hebrew. He just gave the interview like this month, and he said that a big yahrzeit. He said, if you fall behind, skip ahead to the daf you need to be on. And he says, open up the Gemara and write it down inside. I'm sure you guys heard this before. He did not say b'shem Oimroi, but he was kind of b'shinui Hashem, b'shinui. He was kind of b'shinui, because he added, I might have said this once, but I don't say it all the time, and he said it very nice. He said that just like when you miss Shemana Esrei, so at the next tefillah, you say 2 Shemana Esreis, but first you say, if you miss Shachris, you say Mincha. And only afterwards you do Shachris, Tashlumim. I remember saying it once, Reb Orenstein. Supposedly has thousands of listeners. Zog the Gemara, but very nice. Yeah, it's so obvious to Yisai that he most likely invented it himself. Says the Gemara, Kol Meisvei, Kol HaBrochos Kulon, Poiseach bebaruch, Bechoisim Bohem bebaruch. Every bracha, and there's many brachas, and Tosfos goes through all the brachas that you could even imagine, even the one that we say in the Megillah, it's a long bracha. You start with a baruch, and you end with a baruch. Here's an example. Birkas HaMazon, let's say. Baruch Atah Hashem, Azonos HaOlam, and then you finish Baruch Atah Hashem, Azonos HaKol. Chutz Mibirkas Mitzvos. Baruch Atah Hashem, Al Netilas Lulav, Al Tzitzis, whatever it is. It's a small, you just start with a bracha. Ubirkas HaPeiros. Baruch Priyayitz. Now, what about Bar Nefashis? Bar Nefashis, Baruch Chayei Elamim. Why not Baruch Atah Hashem Chayei Elamim? That's what I do. I, in fact, do it. If you look at the last line in Tosfos, Kol HaBrochas, he brings the Yerushalmi, Ubracha, the Bar Nefashis Rabbis, Choisem, Baruch Atah Hashem Chayei Elamim. Okay. Weiter. Also, Maidim D'Rabbanan, Baruch Atah Hashem, Kelai Dais. Interesting. I like to scream it out in shul. People, no. What are you doing? It says, Yerushalmi. Okay. Chodz Mebirkas, no. Ubirkas aperes. Ubrocha smuchel chaverta. Like Shmona Esrei. Shmona Esrei. How come you don't say Baruch Atah Hashem, Ata Choyne Lodem Das, Im Lamed L'Nishbino, Baruch Atah Hashem, Refuah Hashem V'nei Rafe? Why not? Because he just finished the bracha right before, and it leads into the next one. Bracha Smuch L'Chaberta. Ubracha Achroine Shebekriya Shema. Emes V'yatziv, you finish off Gal Yisrael, but why don't you say Baruch Atah Hashem, Emes V'yatziv V'noch V'kayim V'yashar? Because it's a continuation of a Hava Rabba, Hava Soilam, before Shema. Shema is not a hefsek. My chavrusa wanted to learn that Shema is part of it. I don't like the way he learned it. He's learning Rashbam. B'shem Amroi. I didn't want to say I'll say B'shem Amroi when it's bad. No, it's okay. That's how he learned. It's one thing. Okay, it doesn't seem like that from the Rashbam. That's how he learned the Rashbam. That what? That the first bracha and the second bracha are one. There happens to be Shema in between, but that's not considered a hefsek. Some start off like the Birkas HaPeres, Birkas HaMitzvahs. Like the, not the Shema, what? Shmona Esrei, very good. V'hatoy v'hameitiv. Hatoy v'hameitiv is the fourth bracha of Birkas HaMazon. Now, the fourth bracha of Birkas HaMazon is not the Eraisa. The Rabbanan instituted because of Arugi Beitar, they found the bodies whole and they didn't smell and they were able to bury them. So they instituted this bracha. So that's why it's an individual bracha. I'm just saying over from the Rashbam now. That's why it's an individual bracha that starts off with Baruch Atah Hashem. All of a sudden, Shalom Aleichem. Everything else finishes off and doesn't start. You don't start Noida L'cha, Baruch Atah Hashem, Noida L'cha, because you're going from the bracha before. But over here, all of a sudden, we say Baruch Atah Hashem. We started a whole new bracha. Why? Because it's a Dirabanan, it's a new bracha. Now let's think about the rest. Okay, Levin, I chopped it down because it's huge. We all know about Peh. We could sing it if you want. You want to sing it, Nachman? If you were listening, you'd know. What do you think I want you to sing? Okay, no, okay, fine. Not that one. Okay, continue talking, fine. Okay, Levin, okay, fine. And then what does it finish? There's no Baruch Atah Hashem. So Gemara asks, why don't we conclude Havdalah with the bracha? According to Ula. Says the Gemara, Ula, what did Ula do? Baruch Atah Hashem, and the story. How come we didn't finish? Baruch Atah Hashem, Hamad L'Kedesh L'chol. It should be a beginning and an end, like every bracha besides these brachas. Is Havdalah Birkas HaPeres? No. Is it a Birkas HaMitzvah? No. It doesn't fit into these exclusions. So it should have a psicha and a chasima. It is a Birkas HaMitzvah. Why? Birkas HaMitzvah is my taima mishum doidoi. Hanami yoidoi. Havdalah is a hidah HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore it doesn't require a chasima. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful Shabbos. Mutty Shabbos, 8:30. Great Shabbos, Rabbi Sai. Shema Alis Ma'akim Kitzich Adinoi. Adinoi Shema B'Kurli. Rabbanin Tishmo Ya Adinoi Mi Amud. Tumcha Slichol Lemanti Vorei. Kivis Adinoi Gufsan Amshir V'Cholti. Yeah. Wow, here he is. It's not a lie. That's not a lie. It's mamish. He wanted to call. It's very, very tough to go there. I can't talk. I gotta go on Zoom. This is the 3-4 minutes. You say quickly, whatever you want to say.
You didn't meet the director 2 weeks ago.
What?
This stuff. You recorded me. You read it now? Not now. But today you'll read it.
Which one?
With the base tefilos. I sent the base tefilos.
I don't have time to read other things. If I have time, I read. If I have time to read, I read on Gemara. Sorry. Really? Okay.
The important part is only
Yossi Shlosham Aleichem.
What about
Is that Shmelka? Who's that with the cap? It's not Shmelka. Mark Brown, Shalom Aleichem, Mark Brown. Did he just leave? Here goes Robert Hamer. Rabbi said Robert Hamer in Australia, in South Australia, walking his dog. South Australia.
Understood where he was living, you know. No, listen, did you ever hear the phrase, we have all in life?
It's beautiful, no?
it's a puzzle non.
It looks like an iron.
You should see these things now, no? You're into this.
What? Steve, how are you? I haven't seen you in such a long time, Steve. Ellie Trapper. Is Steve on every day? I see Steve now. I didn't see him in a long time. What? He's on every day? Every day. Agun Shabbos Reb Shloime. You guys want to hear the craziest thing? I don't want to say this in share. I'm going to tell it to you guys. Listen to this, Meshuggah. Listen. Hold on, Ellie. Ellie, 1 second. 1 second, Ellie. Hold on. Listen to this unbelievable, crazy story. This guy on Purim, a frum guy, got killed by a van. Everybody heard about the story? They try to lynch an Arab, and the guy floored it and he killed a frum guy. Unbelievable story. Unbelievable. This guy that got killed, his name is Ben Abu. 4 months ago, I think it was, Ben Abu killed another frum person with his own bare hands. Yes. He's on trial for murder, this guy. Yes. That is the story of the ladder. That's the 100% the story of the ladder. He's on trial. He's on trial now. He was on trial. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took care of the trial.
Now he's really on trial. What was that story? Wow.
I don't know the story. I remember the story. There's a frum guy, 60 years old, that got beat up in some sort of institution. He's the guy that did it.
Now find out what that guy did.
Levi Freeman wants to know, what did the first guy that got killed, the 60-year-old, what did he do? It's a wild story, wild. Don't ruin. Why are you ruining the story? Why are you ruining the story? You don't know how stories go. Reb Shia Greenfield, vehatzlacha. Reb Shia. It was one daf. But let me ask you something. If it was one, how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know it was one daf? You came to show off that you did one daf? Hey, Eli, I did a whole daf. That's what you can't. I thought you meant to say that you finished all the dafim.
Whatever makes you look better, you can say. I'm fine with that. But I'm just saying, for me, the real simcha is that it's one dab, and I'm not dagging. And maybe in the next 2 weeks we'll finish the other 6.
I got it. No, it is a tremendous thing. I don't know if I should go back and say Barabim though. I made a mistake. Maybe.
No, I should do. Ain't if you should do it.
Now you have to finish the other 6 blocks. So your belly doesn't look bad. That's all.
I know, Rabbi said, I know he's going to finish it.
I won't be able to go to England, have to show, even though my parents really want me to be that place. I miss them will be stuck in a troll. Arab Yontif and the Germans will be able to see them.
Hey, I'm most likely going to be in Chicago. What rules? Oh, that one, yeah. It's going to be murdered. What time is it? No, for statement, but I'm saying I was in such shock when it happened, and it was so upsetting that Charedim caused it. Charedim, who caused it? Also a bunch of bums. Yeah. All right, boys, I got to go dive in Chakras. I'm kicked off. Mutty, Grunberg, refuah shelayma to your granddaughter. Refuah shelayma to the granddaughter. Good shabbos. Yeah, Mutty's on. You want to say hello to Mutty? Mm-hmm. Mutty, if you look at the screen, you'll see Gary Ben Moshe. Gershon Ben Moshe, he's saying hello. Where's Mutty? I don't know if he's listening. Doesn't look like he's listening. Mutty, you're listening?
Yeah, of course.
No, not you, Mutty. Mutty Grunberg. Mutty Grunberg, OU user. He doesn't say it says Mutty Grunberg. He's the grandfather of the girl. Anyways, I gotta run. Zag is on.